Hello, I'm Nadine Blaney. Welcome to Media Week. Ahead on the program, News Corp picks up APN News and Media's regional assets in a $36 million deal. We'll talk the market reaction, plus the outlook for both companies coming up. Our co-host, James Manning, editor and publisher of Media Week, of course, is joining us in studio, and he'll take us through some of those stories and more in just a moment. But first, it was just 12 months ago that former 10 Network CEO Grant Blackley returned to the media sector as the chief executive of the television, radio, and digital publishing group Southern Cross Media. The company assets include a regional television network that covers most of regional Australia, with many of those markets losing the Network 10 signal and instead getting the Network 9 feed from July the 1st. It also operates the biggest metro and regional radio networks in Australia via the Hit and Triple M brands, and of course it's been building a massive digital publishing presence too. Grant Blackley is joining us here in studio. Welcome to Media Week. Thanks so much for joining us. Can we start with talking about the controversy surrounding Triple M and Eddie Maguire? In hindsight, do you think that management should have responded to the whole controversy faster?
I think what you need to understand is that a number of things. We think that the comments were unacceptable and disrespectful, but we do have a set of protocols that we work through, and in looking at those protocols, we responded within effectively a day and a half. Why the time lag? Principally, we had a board meeting the following day. I wanted to liaise with the board and gain their views. Management obviously needed to form a set of views and work within the protocols we had. And effectively, we also wanted to engage with the White Ribbon Foundation as well to gain their support for the announcement ultimately that we put to market. So I think it was timely. We didn't want to rush an announcement to market. There are a lot of constituents out there that had made commentary from the AFL through to Collingwood, and we've rightfully come to market, expressed our views, and certainly apologised for the comments that were made.
ASIC Chair Greg Medcraft has been out a lot talking about corporate culture lately and really driving home that message. Do you think that corporate culture can be tarnished by such an event?
I would hope that a single comment from an individual's not going to damage a culture of 2,500 people within our company and those constituents that we broadcast to. I think we take this very seriously, and fundamentally we have to respond to it. As I've said, I think we've responded quite quickly. We've put a set of measures in place. We will be going through a training exercise for a number of the staff that were involved and some that even weren't involved, because that's the seriousness of what we take with it. But you would hope that no one individual can actually tarnish the image of what is a very good company in Southern Cross Austereo.
Grant, just on that, were you in talking to the AFL at all? Were they involved in discussions with the company and the boycott by the Richmond Football Club? Did that sort of have any factor on?
No, not at all. We have strong dialogue as a broadcaster with the AFL. I spoke with Gillon McLaughlin yesterday to announce to him that we'd be putting a release to market. But again, we didn't necessarily liaise with the AFL on what their commentary would be, and we weren't going to involve ourselves in the Richmond comments at all. This was an issue for Triple M and SCA to deal with, and we appropriately did that.
Okay, let's move on from that then. Seems to be a little bit of confusion about what regional viewers can expect from their respective broadcasters, because of course all this big change happens just next week. Can you give us sort of an update on that?
I think in fairness this is the first change in 30 years. So many of our own staff in their own lifetime haven't seen a change of this nature. But the simplicity of it is that in Queensland, in southern Victoria, and also in regional Victoria, we're actually changing from a signal which has traditionally been Channel 10 on SCA, and on July 1st we'll move across to the broadcast of the 9 network. So we'll seamlessly take that brand through, and we've adopted the 9 branding for each of those markets. So viewers will actually now find that on Channel 5 and or 50 through 54 on their channel selection. The other thing I can also say is that we are a licence holder of Northern New South Wales, and we've extended the broadcast of the 10 signal in Northern New South Wales to that to that marketplace. And thankfully, the 10 networks also adopted a view that they are willing to let us bring through the 10 signal. So Southern Cross Broadcasting for 10 doesn't exist anymore. We'll seamlessly bring through both the 9 and 10 signals.
Just give us a little update on Tasmania too, because you broadcast the 7 signal in Tasmania on Southern Cross TV
Yes.
down there. Yeah, I think you're in a JV with WIN.
Correct.
For that market. There's still a bit of confusion what will happen with the 9 signal down there.
There is an outstanding position there. So we are the broadcast or rebroadcaster of the 7 signal. So that will remain in that position.
Yep.
We had a joint venture with WIN, which we used to broadcast 10 signal. They're naturally moving across and taking 10 as their primary signal, and therefore that leaves 9 in a position that the joint venture will actually negotiate an outcome with 9. That's well advanced at this point in time, and I'd be hopeful that within the next coming days, hopefully week, that we'll conclude an arrangement to actually make sure we've got all 3 signals in that market.
So you think the Tassie viewers will get to see who wins the voice this year? There won't be a blank screen or anything?
I think they will.
Tell us about the 9 deal. Obviously, you were working with former business partner Hugh Marks. So was that an easier sort of deal to negotiate because you were working with somebody that you know so well?
Yeah, I think what everyone has to understand is we'd had a very long and successful history with the 10 network. And in actual fact, we were highly engaged with the 10 network. And our view was that we wanted to ensure that we got the best economic outcome for the arrangement that we had, regardless of the broadcaster. We went through a period of negotiation with the 10 network. We didn't conclude an arrangement within a time period that we set ourselves. Consequently, we did engage with 9. And within a relatively short period, we agreed on the terms that we've announced. So it was really looking at what could we improve within the state of the agreement and the composition of that agreement, and how do we make it more economically beneficial to the parties involved. And the combination of 9 and Southern Cross unlocked that value. And it's not just a straightforward arrangement, it's an arrangement that improves the value, but the cooperative measure of what we're putting forward in rebranding our stations and working together in the future, I think is quite exciting.
It's taken a while, but a lot of Metro TV viewers now are used to getting the signal in HD. Mm-hmm. Can you give us any update on what will happen in regional areas when you're sending out the 9 signal? So
for those 3 markets I represented, there's a lot of changes in structure we have to do. We actually needed new equipment from overseas, and whilst we'd foreshadowed that we may not reach July 1, I'm actually pleased to say on your program today that we can now confirm that as of July 1, we will broadcast in HD, which is therefore consistent for those markets. And I think that's a big boon. So the state of origin in those 3 markets, they will see in HD pleasingly.
Okay. And regional, the regional news services, WIN viewers have had dedicated local news bulletins. What will happen when you have that 9 signal?
Yeah, so ourselves and 9 are working together to improve the service that already exists in that market and in those 3 marketplaces. And I think the example we'd like to look to is what 9 and NBN do, which is a composite news of national, state and local issues. And we're fundamentally working towards a timetable that I won't release today, but we are working to a timetable to improve the service that we will provide to those particular markets.
So it'd be like a local news window within that, the hour bulletins, perhaps, or?
Not dissimilar to that, that's correct. What we do know is that news is very, very important to the marketplace, whether it be on a state level or whether it be on a local level. We will try and find a composite news that actually serves that localism to those particular markets as we go through, but we also know that national and state issues are also of interest to those local communities.
When it comes to the relationship between 9 and Southern Cross Stereo, fundamentally, is there scope for more collaboration? What kind of a form might that take?
Well, we put no boundaries on that. We've started off with the rebranding. I'd say that the seamless nature of what we can do to do what I say are the back of house issues. How do we make it more streamlined that we can cleanse the costs at the back of the business and fundamentally redeploy those at the front of the business. And the front of the business essentially is content marketing and monetisation, which is, I think, what a true media company is charged with doing. So we don't actually have any boundaries with our relationship with Nine. The executive are meeting on a regular basis. We have good relations, and I think it's time to start afresh and take the opportunity to look at how we work together and how do we actually improve both services. But I'd like to say as well, with the 10 network, we've done many good things. This is a step up, but nevertheless, we're also in agreement with 10 that their signal will now be broadcast Northern New South Wales as 10 on our Channel 5.
So I guess what we're asking too is, in the past, maybe the relationship between the owner of the Metro signal has been a sort of master-slave in a way, if you like. Will Nine treat you better maybe than when you're at 10 you treated
I'd like to think so.
Affiliate?
We've certainly started off that way, and I think it will. And I think because there's a common interest and there's a common respect, and I think that sets the benchmark for moving forth. So, we'll sell in a cooperative manner for any major event. We should talk about how we integrate, sponsors and key advertisers for the benefit of that advertising community, but also for the benefit of consumers. So again, I don't put a boundary on that. And yes, we do know each other. We are getting on famously at this point in time, but you should expect nothing less. And I think that is a step up from a master-slave relationship.
Do you think that there could be some tensions around streaming into regional areas, or is that covered in your agreement that you have with Nine?
Yeah, we're very mindful of streaming. Streaming at this point in time has fairly low reach and impact on the business, but we also have a mechanism within the agreement that if it becomes something that in our opinion becomes material, we have a mechanism to deal with it. I can't deal too much more with that because of commercial in confidence, but nevertheless, yes, we'll keep a watchful eye on it because we do see that that'll be more impactful in the future than what it is today.
There'll be less tension than there was between Win and Nine over that matter, do you think?
Yeah, well, we brought it to bear in the negotiations so that in our arrangement with both networks now, we actually have a mechanism to deal with it, which is a non-public mechanism, such that we can come to a conclusion.
Back on the radio, maybe, there's a few sort of things there. We read a lot about the Today FM rebuild. Last weekend, speculation in the papers that, Rove, look, he's going to move to Drive. Breakfast hasn't worked. You guys came straight out and said, Leah, look, that's not going to happen. But where are we at with that? Yeah. We're probably 9 months into it now, aren't we?
No, we're not actually. The Rove and Sam particularly started at the back end of last year, so they only had really about half a survey at the back end of last year, so it was really coming into this year. So they've been there. It's always entertaining to pick up the papers on a Sunday and read those items. We came out very quickly and said that is not the case. We are committed to the program. As you know, Gemma Fordham's joined us as the head of Hit Network. She's doing a wonderful job, and we're certainly dominating the under 40 women, which is our target market, just as Triple M is number one, undisputed, in males 25 to 54. So we're very much on target and we're achieving the results that we desire. It is work in progress across the board. We often, as you know, don't settle for a position that is not best in market. So some states and other states are performing better or weaker than the other. Nevertheless, we're committed to the teams that we have across the board, and we're putting, as I said before, more front-of-house commitment to marketing and promotion than we've ever done before.
Media reform has hardly mentioned or, rated a mention in this election campaign. Are you confident that in the wake of July 2nd, no matter, I guess, who wins the seat, that we will still see a very concerted push toward a significant media reform?
I think so. We were disappointed that the legislation wasn't adopted prior to the election. But that said, we're very confident that we're going to see a result with the incoming government on the other side. I think what everyone understands is that there is really no contest in relation to the repeal or abolition of the reach rule, the 75% reach rule. And we know that the 2 out of 3 rule went off to a Senate committee and came back with overwhelming support. So I think we have bipartisan support in that regard, and we'd hope that the incoming government will deal with it as a matter of urgency when they get back in power.
The day's numbered, though, for regional TV affiliates if those rules change.
I don't think so. I think
Does
that's...
it have a role to play, do you think?
Absolutely. And, you know, the role to play is about serving 35% of Australia's population with a hyper-local outcome. And we do that exceptionally well. And I actually think that there's been more speculation about mergers, acquisitions and sales than what reality will prove in the future. So I think that's the popular opinion, but I don't think it'll be the outcome.
We have to leave it there. Grant, thank you for being so generous with your
Pleasure.
time. We
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having me.
Grant Blackley, he is the CEO and Managing Director of Southern Cross Stereo. This is Media Week. We have to take a short break. When we return, another week, and APN News and Media offloads another of its traditional media assets. We'll bring you details and analysis next.
Labor, the Greens and the Liberals want billions more in wasteful spending and debt. And when Senator David Leyonhjelm spoke up on behalf of taxpayers, Bill Shorten resorted to name-calling.
So David Leyonhjelm's entitled to his quirky views. Back to the cave, Stone Age man.
At least in the Stone Age they lived within their means. Welfare is meant for the poor, not for the well-off. A vote for the Liberal Democrats means less wasteful spending and a balanced budget.
Authorised by David Leyonhjelm for the Liberal Democrats, Drummoyne, New South Wales.
Where do you spend the most time sitting? Your couch? Your car? What about your office? All that time spent in a chair has made sitting the new smoking, because your body was built for more than sitting. It was built to move. And Veridesk was built to help get you moving by letting you work sitting or standing as much as you need to throughout your work day. Veridesk arrives fully assembled.
I was actually quite surprised how easy it was to set up, put it on top of the desk, and it was ready to go.
Veridesk instantly converts your current desk into a height-adjustable standing desk, effortlessly raises and lowers, and transforms your workspace into a healthier, more productive environment.
Is transforming the way I do my job, and that makes me very happy.
Go to au.veridesk.com to find the Veridesk size and model that's right for your office space. Veridesk usually ships within 24 hours and comes with a no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee and free shipping. Go to au.veridesk.com. That's V-A-R-I desk. Veridesk. Work elevated.
It takes a unique perspective to see the whole picture. Chartered accountants help businesses to seize opportunities, prepare for future challenges, and grow industries that contribute to healthier economies. Governed by a code of ethics, they are trusted business leaders who know the importance of the bigger picture and the value of every detail. To unleash the potential of your business, choose a chartered accountant.
It starts with a spark that can change everything. But ideas don't come from nothing. They come from out there. Data and inspiration floating for the taking. And with the Internet of Things connecting us more than ever, we're committed to co-create a better tomorrow. The future is open to suggestions. This is social innovation. Hitachi, inspire the next.
On the next Sky News Real Estate.
The ideal housewarming present. Don't give wine, give wire cutters.
Our building expert tells us what every homeowner needs in their toolbox.
High-tech hackers can open your email and your front door. There's more at risk than your hard drive.
We're going to be telling you what you need to know to protect your home.
Interest rates are at record lows, but interest in commercial property is on the up.
You're going to be surprised where you can find decent returns.
Join us Saturday.
Welcome back to the program. Really happy to have James Manning, editor and publisher of Media Week, here with us this week, on the week that APN News and Media took yet another step forward in streamlining its business, offloading its Australian regional media division to News Corp in a deal worth $36.6 million. Here's Ben LeBrun from Options Express for more on how media stocks are faring on the market this week.
Media stocks this week have been dominated by the news that APN News and Media, fresh from their demerger of their New Zealand business, have struck a deal with News Corp. Of course, this is ACCC pending an FIR, needs FIRB approval, but to sell some of their regional publishing division to News Corp for $36.6 million. Interesting share price reaction for APN News and Media. Their shares have been down since that announcement. News Corp's has been up, so we can only speculate that perhaps the market thinking that News has got a little bit of a bargain out of this divestment from APN. But also interesting to note that News Corp, that has been the division that has really struggled, their publishing division, well, at least for the last 4 or 5 years, but they're looking to beef up that regional arm, obviously pending shareholder approval. Interesting to bear in mind, News Corp is actually a 15% shareholder of APN News and Media as well. But for APN, their future is very much in the outdoor division and also their radio assets as well. So they're primed for growth and they've, in their own CEO's estimation, going to become a much more nimble company as a result of these divestments and the demerger. So interesting times. As I said, the share price reaction just cues us in that maybe the price has come into question a little bit for APN. But their future is very, very clear and they've unlocked a lot of shareholder value. So that's been the good news story for APN News and Media shareholders recently. News Corp, as I said, beefing up that publishing division. So I guess the jury is also a little bit out in terms of this investment for them.
Well, let's find out what James Manning, my co-host here, thinks of all that from Media Week. Do you think we could potentially see some of these Queensland regional newspapers closing under News Corp, or what's the plan here?
Not immediately. I think they would have been closed probably in the past if they were sort of borderline. So there could be maybe some mergers, which is I guess almost the same as a closure. Some of the markets they
definitely
might combine
synergies
them.
would be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Ben's probably right. News Corp maybe did get a bit of a bargain. APN News and Media obviously wanted to get rid of them, as we hear on this show every week. Newspapers is in the sexy sector. The idea of people investing in it, they really walk away. So getting 36 million, they can now focus on their outdoor and their radio business, as we heard last week from Kieran Davis.
Let's talk about some of the deals being done, because we've heard just recently that Vice has made a deal with SBS, and this is part of its global expansion. Now, don't have time to go into detail with our viewers about what Vice is, but, a really strong name. Yeah,
look, very surprising. I think SBS hasn't got all the detail of the deal yet. That's going to use the SBS2 frequency. Does that mean there'll be no more SBS2? We're not sure, but that'll be revealed. I think the channel will be up this year, so there'll be some SBS2 content with a whole lot of Vice content. Vice Land's the name of the channel, and the Vice story is just amazing because they've on the share register, I think 21st Century Fox, so it's the Murdochs, Disney, Hearst Corporation, but the founders of the company, which is over 20 years old, still hold the majority share.
But they do a lot of real video-led journalism and really
Absolutely. It's a very edgy channel, so it's just, I think some SBS2 viewers might get a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah,
some of the content that might crop up, but it's obviously SBS2 think it's going to be a better commercial outcome for them.
NEP Australia, 7 West Media, opening that Gold Coast 2018 host broadcaster headquarters. I guess this is a fitting start to what is expected to be, I think, the biggest televised sporting event this decade, or am I just reading the tagline that I've been saying?
No, you got it exactly right, Nadine, but it is surprising, isn't it? We haven't had Rio yet, and here we are sort of trying to get excited a little bit about the Commonwealth Games, because beside the Olympics, the Commonwealth Games are sort of a real little sister, aren't they? But I think people forget that because it's going to be in Australia, it will be a big deal. By the time Rio wraps, it's only going to be 18 months till that takes off.
Right. Astra Industry Award nominations. I like that they've got this Rising Star category, which is for individuals aged under 30. And
I just missed that cut-off, Nadine. Did you make it?
No comment.
Okay. Now, yeah, look, they used to have the Astra Awards and the Astra Industry Awards. The Astra Awards are gone, as we've talked about on the show before, but they're maintaining the Industry Awards, which is rewarding all the people sort of behind the scenes, if you like, in the subscription television industry. So no surprise Foxtel as the operator of the most channels figures most prominently, but also BBC Worldwide and Fox Sports have a lot of contenders up for gongs too.
Yeah, and I like that a lot of those under 30 are actually working for the channels that they grew up watching.
Yeah.
Fox Sports is launching a 24/7 Wimbledon channel, 600 hours of live tennis. So this is, take off from what we saw around Golf Masters, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's a great idea. These pop-up channels work very well. It helps build interest in a sport. You'll be able to choose from sort of concurrent games that are happening at the same time, so you'll be able to follow your favourite players, stuff like that. But if you haven't got a Fox Sports subscription, you can always watch it on 7, have some of the free-to-air coverage. They're putting it across their 3R7, 7.2 and 7mate will all have some, and their 7 Tennis app will also be involved in the action as well.
Should we have a chat about ratings?
Sure.
Let's look at the ratings for week 25, free-to-air, and it is the news programs that are factoring really highly in week 25. 7 News Sunday and 7 News as well. 9 News Sunday as well in number 3.
Yeah, MasterChef, the highest rating non-news program, so Ten are very happy with that. The format's working very well for them this year, and it crops up twice in the next 5 too, at number 6 and number 8.
Yeah, it looks good for MasterChef, and getting to the pointy end of the stick there as well. I believe the top 10, not that I watch or anything.
Top 10 revealed, and it's Heston week next week too, no, don't.
Okay, yes, I watch MasterChef and proud of it. Turning to sport, we've got obviously AFL really dominating there, NRL as well. I guess this time next week we'll be speaking of State of Origin.
Yeah, and the Wallabies England test up again. I think the second successive week that's made the top 5.
Okay, let's talk about non-sport. On subscription TV, we've got Game of Thrones looking good.
Episode 8, there's only 2 left that we'll see on this chart, so it's near the end of another season for them.
And have you had a chance to watch Secret City? It's coming in at number 5 for Showcase.
It's banked up on my IQ.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I've had to clear a couple of other things first, but yeah, there's some great reports about it, and it's great to see it doing so well in the rating.
Yeah, as far as TV, I guess one little portion of news is that 10 has confirmed that Win Tasmania news presenter Georgia Love will be starring in The Bachelorette. That's always a big ratings winner, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be good news for them. A lot of action down in Tassie with all we've been talking with Graham Blackley, but losing one of their newsreaders. But Georgia Love, could she have a better name?
Didn't even click with me.
The Bachelorette.
Good one,
so
James.
She seems the ideal candidate.
Okay, we're out of time. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Thanks,
It's James Manning there from Media Week, editor and publisher, and my co-host here. That's all we have time for. Thanks for your company.